Hello everyone, myself Dr. Anjana Rani, working as an assistant professor in Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology Pharmacy Institute. I am here to deliver a lecture on biopharmaceutics and pharmacokinetics. Okay, this is the very first lecture of this subject, and the topic for today's lecture is Introduction to Biopharmaceutics. Okay. Now, first of all, what is biopharmaceutics? Okay. See, a drug, whether it is obtained from the plants or it is obtained from the animals, or it is synthesized chemically, it can be, or it is synthesized chemically. We have to add certain inert substances, and these inert substances are also known as the adjuvants or the excipients. Okay. So, the drug must have to be combined with certain excipients to transform these into a proper delivery system or a proper dosage form. Okay. And these earlier it was believed that the therapeutic response of a drug is due to its intrinsic pharmacological activity, but now it is well understood that in case of the dosage form, there is a relation or there is an effect of these adjuvants on the therapeutic effectiveness also. Okay. So, these physicochemical properties of the drug substance or the formulation or the different dosage form, these can affect the therapeutic effectiveness of the drug. Okay. So, the therapeutic efficacy or the therapeutic effectiveness of a drug will vary upon because of the route of administration that is preferred. Okay, whether the drug is administered by the IV route or it is administered by the extravascular route or oral route. Okay. So, the therapeutic effectiveness that we will obtain with vary depending upon the route of administration and also depending upon the dosage form. Okay. The effect will be different in case of the solution, it will vary in case of that tablet or in case of the suspension or emulsion. Okay. So, there are certain factors that can affect this that can affect the therapeutic effectiveness or that can affect the rate and extent of drug absorption. Okay. So, to study these factors, a new discipline has been introduced, and that discipline is known as the biopharmaceutics. Okay. That discipline is known as the biopharmaceutics. Okay. So, what is biopharmaceutics? It is defined as the study of factors influencing the rate and amount of drug that reaches the systemic circulation and use of this information. What information? The factors affecting the rate and amount of drug that is reaching the systemic circulation. And the information that we have get from this study, this information will be used in optimizing the therapeutic efficacy of the drug product. Okay. So, what is biopharmaceutics? It is the study of factors influencing the rate and amount of drug that reaches the systemic circulation, and use of this information in optimizing the therapeutic efficacy of the drug product. Okay. Now, another definition is there also, that is the bioavailability. Now, what is bioavailability? It is defined as the rate and extent of the drug absorption or the rate and the amount of the drug that is reaching into the blood or into the systemic circulation is known as the bioavailability. Okay. So, any alteration or any change in the drug bioavailability will be reflected in its pharmacological effect. Okay. Now, the next term is the absorption. What is absorption? I am telling you about the rate and extent of drug absorption. So, what is absorption? Absorption is the process of movement of the drug from its site of administration to the systemic circulation. Okay. When a drug is ingested, it will reach into the systemic circulation. So, the process or the movement of this drug from the site of administration, whether it is, if it is administered orally, then it will be, the movement will be from mouth to the systemic circulation. Okay. And if we are administering the drug directly in with the help of intravenous route, it will directly reach into the systemic circulation. Okay. So, the process of movement of the drug from its site of administration to the systemic circulation is known as the absorption, or we can also say the process of movement of unchanged drug from the site of administration to the systemic circulation. Okay. Another definition of distribution, another definition is distribution. What is distribution? As the name indicate, it is related to the distribution, means the drug that we are ingesting, or the drug that is getting absorbed will be distributed into the different compartments of the body. Okay. So, the movement of the drug between the one compartment and the other, and in this, these compartments are blood and the extravascular tissues, means the drug will be distributed from blood into the extravascular tissue, and this movement is known as the drug distribution. Okay. Another term is also there, that is the disposition. Now, what do you mean by disposition? What is disposition? Disposition consists of distribution and elimination. Okay. Disposition consists of distribution and elimination. What is distribution? It is the movement of the drug between one compartment to the another, or from the blood to the extravascular tissue. Okay. And what is elimination? It is the process by which a drug is getting eliminated from the body. Okay. Or it is defined as the process that tends to remove the drug from the body and terminates its action. Okay. Until and unless the drug is in the body, it will show its therapeutic effect, and when it is removed from the body, its action will get terminated. So, what is the elimination? It is the process that tends to remove the drug from the body and terminates its action. Okay. Next term is the pharmacokinetic. Pharmacokinetics. What is pharmacokinetics? Pharmacokinetics is defined as the study of time course of drug. It is defined as the study of time course of drug, ADME. What is this ADME? What is this ADME? A stands for absorption, A stands for absorption, D stands for distribution, M stands for metabolism, and E stands for excretion. Okay. So, what is pharmacokinetic? It is the study of time course of drug. And what is the time course of drug? It is the ADME. It is the time course of the drug, ADME, means the drug absorption, the drug distribution, drug metabolism and drug excretion, as well as its relationship with its therapeutic and the toxic effect of the drug. Okay. So, basically it is the kinetics of ADME, that is why it can also be called as the KADME. Okay. So, what is pharmacokinetic? It is defined as the study of time course of drug ADME and its relationship with its therapeutic and the toxic effect of the drug. So, it is the kinetics of the ADME, that is why it can also be called as the KADME. Okay. Next term is clinical pharmacokinetic. Now, what is clinical pharmacokinetic? This clinical pharmacokinetic is defined as the use of pharmacokinetic principles in optimizing the drug dosage to suit individual patient needs and achieving maximum therapeutic utility. Okay. What is clinical pharmacokinetic? It is the in the clinical pharmacokinetic we will use the pharmacokinetic principles. What are the pharmacokinetic principles? The data whatever we have achieved from the drug ADME. Okay. So, we have to use the pharmacokinetic principles, means ADME, in optimizing the drug dosage to suit the individual patient need. Means we have to optimize the dosage form, we have to optimize the drug dosage according to the need of the patient, so that the maximum therapeutic utility can be achieved or maximum therapeutic effectiveness we can get from the dosage form. Okay. So, this is called as the clinical pharmacokinetic. Okay. So, these all are the terms related to the biopharmaceutics. Okay. Another term is dosage regimen. What is dosage regimen? Dosage regimen is defined as the manner in which the drug is taken. Okay. This is called the dosage regimen. So, with the help of these pharmacokinetic, or in case of clinical pharmacokinetic, what we are doing? We are optimizing this dosage regimen, okay, to achieve the maximum therapeutic effectiveness in case of a dosage form. Okay. So, next term is the drug absorption. Okay. See, when we are drug can be administered by different route of administration. It can be administered by extravascular route, or means it can be administered orally. It can be given by the parenteral route, or it can be given by the enteral route or peroral route, means by buccal route or sublingual route or transdermal route. Ocular delivery can also be there. Means we are having the different route of administration by which we can administer our drug. Okay. And the drug absorption will be varied in these different dosage form. The drug absorption will not be same in all the dosage form. Okay. Now, what is the drug absorption? As I have told you, absorption is the movement of the unchanged drug from the site of administration to the systemic circulation. Means a drug will not show its effect until and unless it is not in the systemic circulation. Whenever a drug reaches the systemic circulation, or whenever a drug is entering into the blood, then only it will start showing its effect. Okay. So, to determine this drug absorption, we can get a relationship between the plasma drug concentration versus time. Okay. We are plotting a graph between the plasma drug concentration and the time. So, with the help of this graph, we can easily estimate the drug absorption and certain parameters related to the drug absorption, okay, or the pharmacokinetic of the dosage form. Okay. So, these pharmacokinetic parameters include, first parameter is the Cmax, or next parameter is the Tmax, and another parameter is the AUC. Okay. So, with the help of plasma drug concentration versus time profile, we can have the values of some parameters, and the value of these and the name of these parameters are Cmax, Tmax and AUC. Now, what is the Cmax? Okay. Cmax. It is the maximum plasma drug concentration. What is the Cmax? Cmax is maximum plasma drug concentration. Okay, means the maximum concentration that can be achieved in the blood is called as the Cmax. Okay, and this Cmax is shown here. So, this is the maximum concentration that can be achieved in the plasma. That is why it is called as the Cmax. Okay. At this point, rate of absorption as well as the rate of elimination will be the same. Okay. This line is representing the rate of absorption and this is representing the rate of elimination. Okay. So, at maximum plasma concentration or at peak plasma concentration, rate of absorption is equal to the rate of elimination. Okay. So, this is the maximum plasma concentration or peak plasma concentration. Okay. And when we extrapolate the value of Cmax on the x axis, we will get the value of Tmax. Okay. Sorry, this is the value of Tmax. Okay. So, what is the Tmax? We can define the Tmax as the time to achieve the maximum plasma drug concentration. Okay. What is the Cmax? It is the peak plasma drug concentration, okay, or the concentration, the maximum concentration that we can obtain is the Cmax, and the time to achieve that maximum plasma drug concentration is known as the Tmax. Okay. Now, another term is absorption window, sorry, AUC. Another term is AUC. AUC is known as the area under curve. Area under curve. Okay. So, what is AUC? This AUC we can determine from this curve. Okay. From the area under this graph, we can get the value of AUC. Okay. So, this area is representing the value of AUC or area under the curve. Okay. Next term is the absorption window. Absorption window, or it can also be called as the therapeutic window. Okay. So, what is absorption window? See, this is the plasma drug concentration versus time profile. Okay. Now, what is the absorption window? Absorption window or therapeutic window is the area in which, or it is the window whenever the drug is remained into this window, the drug will show its effect, and if the drug concentration is outside this window, it will not show the therapeutic effect. Okay. Suppose this is the therapeutic window. Okay. So, this is the therapeutic window. Whenever the drug is in this window, means up to this time, the drug, whenever the drug is in this, whenever the drug concentration is maintained in this window, then only the drug can show its therapeutic utility. Okay. If a drug is showing this profile, okay, then this concentration is at the subtherapeutic level, it is not reaching the therapeutic level. Okay. The drug is at the therapeutic level only when whenever it is in the absorption window or it is in the therapeutic window. Okay. Now, how we get the absorption window or therapeutic window? We can get the value of this absorption window, therapeutic window with the help of two constant, that is the MEC and the MTC. Okay. Now, what is MEC? MEC, it is the minimum effective concentration, minimum effective concentration. Okay. What is MTC? MTC is the maximum toxic concentration, or sorry, minimum toxic concentration, or it can also be called as the MSC, or the maximum safe concentration. Okay. So, what is MTC? It is the minimum, MEC, it is the minimum effective concentration, and what is the MSC? It is the maximum safe concentration. Okay. So, this line is representing the value of MEC, and this is representing the value of MSC or MTC. So, from the ratio of these MTC and MEC, we can get the value of therapeutic window, and also it is also known as the therapeutic index. Okay. So, what is the therapeutic index? It is the MTC of the drug upon MEC of the drug. Okay. We can get the value of therapeutic index by MTC and the MEC. Okay. So, whenever the drug concentration is maintained into this window, the drug will show its effect. When the drug concentration is outside this, it will not show its effect. Okay. So, another thing is there, whenever a drug concentration is reaching at the MEC value, this is the point that is representing the MEC value or minimum effective concentration, means when the drug concentration reaches this MEC value, it will start showing its effect. That is why this point is called as the onset of action, onset of action. Okay. Because at this point, whenever the drug is reaching at this concentration, it will start showing its effect. That is why it will be called as the onset of action. Okay. And the time corresponding to this will be known as the onset of time. Okay. So, these are the different terms related to the drug absorption. Okay. Now, we have to study the different mechanisms of the drug absorption. Okay. We can have different categories of the drug absorption. So, to study the mechanism of drug absorption, we have categorized 3 different categories. There are 3 broad categories of the drug transport mechanism. First category is the transcellular or intracellular transport. Second category is the paracellular or intercellular transport, and the third category is the vesicular transport. Okay. So, as the name indicates, the transcellular transport means that drug transport will takes place across the cell or across the GI epithelium. Okay. As it is shown in this diagram, whenever a drug is absorbed across the GI epithelium or across the cells, it is called as the transcellular absorption. Okay. Whenever a drug is getting absorbed or getting transported between the junctions of the cell, then it will be called as the paracellular transport. Okay. And when the drug is administered in the form of vesicles, or whenever a drug is transported in the form of vesicles, then it will be called as the vesicular transport. Okay. This is the 3 different types of the transport that is involved in the absorption process. First mechanism is the transcellular transport, second mechanism is the paracellular transport, and third mechanism is the vesicular transport. Okay. So, first mechanism is the transcellular transport or intracellular transport. Intracellular means between the cells. Okay. So, there are 3 steps that are involved in the transcellular transport of the drug molecule. Okay. First step is the permeation of GI epithelial cell membrane, a lipoidal barrier. Means first step in case of drug transport across the transcellular mechanism is the permeation of drug across the GI epithelial cell membrane, and it is a lipoidal barrier. Second step is the movement across the cytosol, and the third step is the permeation of the basolateral membrane. Okay. These 3 steps are involved in case of transcellular transport of the drug. Okay. So, this transcellular or intracellular transport is further divided into 2 types of process. First is the passive transport process. Okay, passive transport process. So, as the name indicates, there will be no requirement of the energy, that is why this process is called as the passive transport process. Okay. And this passive transport process is further categorized into 4 types. First is the passive diffusion, second is the pore transport, third is the ion pair transport, and fourth one is the facilitated or mediated diffusion. Okay. Next is the active transport process. Okay. In case of active transport process, there are 2 types, primary active transport and the secondary active transports. Okay. In case of primary active transport, there are certain transporters that are involved, and in case of secondary transport, symport and antiports are required. This symport is also known as the co-transport, and antiport is known as the counter transport. Okay. So, this is the transcellular or intracellular transport. Okay. The second type of transport is the paracellular or intercellular transport. Okay. So, this paracellular transport is defined as the transport of drug through the junctions between the GI epithelial cell. In case of transcellular transport, the drug transport or drug movement takes place across the GI epithelium, but in case of paracellular transport, the transport of drug will takes place between the junctions or the junctions that are present between the GI epithelial cells. Okay. In case of paracellular transport, there are 2 types of movement. First is the permeation through tight junctions of the epithelial cells, and second is the persorption. Okay. So, these 2 movements takes place in case of paracellular or intercellular transport. Okay. The last mechanism that is involved in the drug transport is the vesicular transport. Okay. So, as the name indicates, in this type of transport process, the drug movement will takes place in the form of vesicles. The drug will be entrapped in the vesicle, and this vesicle will move in across the cells. That is why vesicular transport can also be called as a transcellular transport. Okay, because in case of vesicular transport, the drug that is transported in the form of vesicle that will cross the GI epithelial membrane. Okay. Means in this the movement will be across the cell membrane or across the lipoidal barrier. That is why it can be called as the transcellular transport. Okay. So, this vesicular transport involves the endocytosis, and this endocytosis is of 2 types. First is the pinocytosis and second one is the phagocytosis. Okay. Now, what is the pinocytosis? This pinocytosis is also known as the cell drinking. Okay. Means in case of pinocytosis, there will be the absorptive uptake of the fine droplets, or there will be uptake of the liquid, or there will be uptake of the substance in the liquid form. In case of phagocytosis, that is also known as the cell eating. In case of phagocytosis, there will be absorptive uptake of the substances in the form of solids. Okay. So, that is why it is called as the phagocytosis. Okay. So, what we have discussed in this lecture, I have told you about the different terms that are related to the biopharmaceutics. What is biopharmaceutics, what is pharmacokinetic, what is absorption, what is distribution, what is elimination, and what is clinical pharmacokinetic. Okay. And next, the terms related to the drug absorption, Cmax, Tmax, onset of action, therapeutic index, and the 3 types of the transport mechanisms. Okay. Thank you.